everybody. Okay, so look, my mic don't work out. Hold on, can you hear me? Hold on. Let me see. Hey everybody, welcome to Rebuilding the Village Talk Show. I am your host, Aikira King, also known as Aikira Queen, and a whole lot of other things. I am privileged to be here tonight next to a very knowledgeable brother who has come to give us some knowledge on how rebuilding the village, how restoring the village, how polygamy, y'all, I got a lot going on, how polygamy restores the village. So if you guys are tuning in right now is your opportunity to invite your friends to this live, to share this live, to tell a friend that the show is now on. Yes, we are definitely on CP time because I am the host, the producer, and the light changer and all that good stuff. But we are here and we are about to have an amazing show. So welcome. Let me just get this mic working real quick, you guys, and I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself to all of you. Mm-hmm.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kaasheef Mohammed. Can you hear me? Hello, everybody.
Yeah, I got push it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kaasheef Mohammed. I'm a native, Baltimore native. I'm here to speak on a great topic and to just give you some information about the topic because there's a lot of misconceptions. So I hope we have fun with doing that, and thank you all for listening.
Okay, everybody. So y'all see me doing technical support via in front of the camera right now, and it's because I'm determined to get this mic working. But let's start this show out by pretty much explaining what rebuilding a village is. Rebuilding a village, pretty much. Okay, so not working. Rebuilding the village. It's just what it sounds like. I decided to do Rebuilding the Village talk show to talk about, all of the things that are going on inside of the community, the good things as well as the bad things. And I think it's necessary to begin this journey with talking about how the village even got broken. And one of the ways I personally believe the village was broken was because there was a brokenness in the family. So unfortunately, sometimes either the father leaves or, the mom passes away or the mom leaves. I try to play it like moms don't leave and like the mom passes away. But unfortunately, the truth is that moms leave as well. And, when there's a broken household, then of course that village, becomes broken. So I thought that, I was thinking about the whole reason why polygamy even began. And why it was started, at least why I was told it was started. Polygyny. So yeah, we're gonna give Brother Kaasheef to get that all to y'all and to me again. But as far as how you pronounce it and the meaning behind it and all of that stuff. So as I go and do technical support real quick, ladies and gentlemen, and hello to my YouTube watchers as well, even though I don't see right there. But yeah, I'm going to give him the mic and give him the opportunity to first explain to you how the word is pronounced, the meaning behind the word, and pretty much how it started. And I think that would give you guys an overall objective as to why this is even a topic on this type of show, Rebuilding the Village. So I'm going to pass the mic real quick.
Thank you. So we have the term polygyny, we have the term polygamy, and you have the term polyandry. On behalf of my family, I'm here with my family. First, God tells us through our prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that we should thank God by thanking the people. So on behalf of my family and myself, we thank you for inviting us again. So you have polygyny, polygamy, and polyandry. Polyandry is the practice of a man and a woman having multiple spouses, which Muslims are not allowed to indulge in. Then you have polygamy, which, polyandry is where a woman is allowed to have multiple spouses, which is not permissible in our religion. And then you have polygamy, where a man or a woman can have multiple spouses. And then you have polygyny, which we are involved in, meaning the Muslims, where a man can have multiple spouses with a limitation of 4 set by the guidelines and conditions of God Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, and chapter 4 of the Quran, verse 3. She mentioned that I should say where it originated from. This concept originated with the Creator himself way long before the event of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It is known in the previous scriptures that all of the great prophets and messengers practice this great legislation. Prophet Abraham, Prophet Solomon, Prophet David, and the likes of these great men. May God's peace and mercy and blessings be upon all of them. So that's really the three statements, the three phrases, and the definitions behind them. So I mentioned that so as you will not be confused that polyandry or polygamy is what we practice. This is incorrect. We Muslims, we practice polygyny, which was legislated by the Creator, where a man can take 4 spouses or wives, not girlfriends or side chicks, and have a commitment with them and provide for them and shelter them and clothe them and live with them in kindness and mercy until Allah takes either one of their souls or all of their souls. That's it. Okay. Still? Yeah, keep going. So right now I want to take this time to pass the microphone to introduce my family. To my left, we have my 3 wives here, whom I love dearly. So inshallah, I'm going to allow them to briefly say their name, how long they've been Muslim, and whatever else they like to say, but a brief introduction. I think you got to talk closer.
Yeah, you do.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jamila. I've been Muslim for 4 years now, and I have 4 beautiful daughters. And we've been married to Kaasheef for 3 years and some months.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Layla. I've been Muslim since for how long? 13 years now? No. Yeah, 13 years now. I've been married to Kaasheef. Since 2016, so almost 2 years now.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sabira. I'm from Wilmington, and I've been Muslim since 2007. And I've been married to Kaasheef since 2016. It seems so much longer.
I know.
I think we want to do a volume test. If you can hear us, please hit like or yes, na'am, thumbs up, something to allow us to understand that you can hear us. I should have done that before, but I would like to understand to know if you can hear us, please.
Yes, okay, so you can hear me. I don't know why you can't hear me on this mic. Okay, wait. It was working on the other way.
Okay. We see you guys throwing up those hearts and those likes. So I'm glad that you guys can hear us. Unfortunately, my other mic is like, nah, I don't know if I want to work tonight. But yes, I'm very, very happy that all of you decided to come and sit with me and discuss this topic. I had like so many questions from the last time we had a show together. I know if my inbox and my telephone was going crazy, that your inboxes were going crazy because, this is a topic that isn't often talked about, and a lot of people, we assume things. I'm going to say we because I assumed a lot of things as well. You learn a little bit and then you just kind of, especially if you get turned off from it, you get turned off and then you're just like, oh, okay, I don't want to know anything else because I'm just going to assume that that's a whole hot mess. So I'm not going to even look into it any further. And I think a lot of people definitely had that happen. Y'all know I have hot flashes, so I had to have this fan. So I'm pass out on the mic. But things about your family, and which is why I invited you guys back, because one of the beautiful things about your family is the unity, the structure that I witnessed myself, you guys having, and just the love between, the genuineness and the love between all of you. Your sisterhood is amazing to me, and it's a blessing. We all look, I'm pretty sure all of you, we look to find a friend in life that we can be friends with and that we can have as our confidant, that we can, just have for life. We all want that lifelong friend. And you know, when you think about a co-wife, I'm gonna say me. When I thought about a co-wife, I didn't think like, oh, this is gonna be my friend. I personally thought when my ex-husband mentioned a co-wife, I thought, oh, okay, it's time to throw some boxing gloves on because this is about to be a problem. You know, but you know, it's because I was just looking at it in a jealous aspect. And you know, one of the things that we all think is when we have an individual that we're in love with, or that person belongs to us. Like that is our person. Like that is our man. Nobody else can have him. Don't look at him. You know, so to be able to be in the company of all three of you and just feel the love and the genuineness, I thought that was something that the world should be able to, you know, feel and see again, because you guys are part of restoring the village to me. You are the meaning of restoring the village. Each of you shared your stories, and I will allow you to share your stories briefly again so that people can kind of know your background and know how you came to this you know, lifestyle, and I say lifestyle, but it's not just a lifestyle, it's their way of life. You know, they live this way, and it's according to, you know, Islam as well as their desire and all of that. So, you know, I'll give you guys a chance to kind of tell everybody, you know, about each of your paths and how you know, came to this. And if you have questions, know that we're going to definitely try to, you know, answer as many questions as we possibly can. And we have some questions that came in before the show that I'm definitely going to try to read off tonight to just get everybody's question answered. But I'll just start by saying, you know, we came from a different situation, I'll say. So, you know, you all, you know, came into this marriage with children. And the reason I mention that is because my thought of rebuilding the village is to be able to rebuild the homes and, you know, be able to restore, you know, love and structure into our children's lives, and to show them love and structure. And for you all to be taking on the task of, you know, raising your children alone and then deciding, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and raise my children with another family. And a whole other family, and then a whole other family. You know, you built your own village. You built your own village, and you all are making it work. And as you guys see, I'm not sure if you saw their appearance on my other show, but if you didn't, don't worry, you see them now. But you see, you know, these sisters are parents. So I'm gonna allow them to tell their story each from left to right. So I'll start with you, Sister Samira.
Hello. My story. I'm just an average. I was an average person. You go through relationship, problem after problem, heartache after heartache, and you know, just putting your all into a situation. You know, getting your feelings hurt, put yourself into it, getting your feelings hurt, and then you know to come to this family, because I'm the third wife. I am the third wife. I'm the last one in. Yeah. I'm the last one in. So to come, it's like, okay, wait. House to meet the family. It was like, is this for real? like they really happy? Like for real? Like, but it's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. To have the support, you know, other than myself, because me coming from me, I was my support. I was my own team. I was my own everything. So to come into the family, friends, sisters, reminders, and a husband that's leading us, you know, by, you know, the permission of Allah, alhamdulillah, it's just a great thing. So
I always get to say, what was the question again? So how I came, so my story, I've always accepted polygyny. When I accepted Islam, I knew that polygyny was a part of Islam. So you had people saying to you, oh, you know, you can have more than one wife. And I'm like, okay, like, I know, it's fine. It's fine. And so when I was married before, I always wanted a co-wife. For me, I felt like to have a co-wife, you had support in your family. And to be a working mom, a mom that went to school, and to have to deal with being a wife as well and running a household, it's a lot. And for me, it always felt like if I just had one person here, or two, or three, or somebody, and you can't find a babysitter, if you have to go to school, and you have to go to work, or if somebody gets sick, or something happens, it's just support. And I feel like, as moms, even when I got divorced and I became single, I'm like, you just still always need support. So when I got remarried when I got remarried, I married kaasheef, I was ecstatic that he had a wife, and I was already, and when I came in, she was a kind woman. She reminded me of Islam. It was the whole household reminded me of Islam. When I walked in, the kids were reciting surahs, and he did everything the right way around the sunnah. So for me, it was a benefit. And then I just wanted to benefit the family just as they were benefiting me, as reminding me of Islam, reminding me of why I chose Islam, to be around, to be a remembrance of Allah. So that was my journey. Oh, it's not a
Assalamu alaikum. My journey is, I became Muslim in 2014. And, I took my shahada myself. And it was told to me that I shouldn't. So I went to a masjid. And at that masjid, they said, well, you have to have witnesses. And then in the same sense, I started learning about the religion. I was researching before, but I started learning about everything. My thing is with polygyny, as soon as you start learning and understanding tafsir, as soon as you start fearing your Lord, and as soon as you start understanding Tawheed, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you do everything for the face of Allah. You do everything to please Allah. You do everything, to make sure that your goal is met, and that's getting the Jannah. You strive for your hereafter, and when you strive for your hereafter, the dunya is coming to you. So with polygyny, it wasn't a huge jump for me, because you've been in relationships where you've been with a man and he may have been cheating on you, so you're in polygyny already.
no, you're not.
That's chaos. What I mean, but it's the same. Right? It's chaotic. But with this, you have Quran and Sunnah, and you follow that. And alhamdulillah, I'm thankful that my husband is the one I ended up with, because he's been teaching me a lot. And you love your sister, you love for yourself, and you want to give that to your sisters as well. So polygyny is beautiful.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So one of the things that I'm hearing from everybody is pretty much like you already accept, Sister Subira. She had already accepted polygyny. Are you saying polygyny, right? I'm gonna get it right, y'all. And then another thing I wanted to just get correct, because I messed up everybody's name. Is it kaasheef?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Kaasheef.
Oh, okay, because I heard her say kaasheef. I said, oh my God, I could say kaasheef so much. Okay. But what I'm hearing pretty much, even with Sister Subira, not fully being comfortable immediately, the sisters made you comfortable once you came into, she wouldn't be here. Once you came into the home and met everybody. So for you, Brother kaasheef, one of the questions, I'm not even reading off yet, but I'm gonna just say one of the questions for me to you would be, what made you decide to take on the task of having more than one wife? How did you feel you were ready to take on more than one wife?
I did. It wasn't my idea. It was the children's idea. But Jamila's my first wife, and Jamila, we were talking, and just the subject came up, and one of her children, she's not here, I won't mention her name, but one of the children suggested that it would be a great idea if we had a co-wife in the family, and and we could come together like that as a family, like that, study together like that. So what I told her was that I'll pray on it, because I don't make a hasty decision like that, a fast decision. Excuse me. I said, okay, I'll pray on it, and I'll see where it goes from there. So I contemplated, and I thought about the benefits of it, the moral benefits, and I said, okay. And it went from there. And from there on, we began to search. I say we because I include my family in everything. I don't hide anything. So we began to search for someone that fits the criteria of a wife, meaning God-fearing, studious, kind, and merciful. That's it.
Okay, that's definitely different. We had a lot of people that said, okay, this brother just wants to have a lot of wives. And I said, no, did you watch the show? So, I don't think, I'm not gonna say I don't think, but I know, a few brothers that have more than one wife. And as we all know, as women, we are a lot to deal with. So, it's not an easy thing to just take on. So it's a completely different thing from living an Islamic lifestyle and having multiple women as opposed to living an Islamic lifestyle and having multiple wives, because first of all, there's a respect, and even with them being together, being able to sit together, talk together, eat together, live together, there has to be a level of respect for all of you. So with all of you, one of the questions that I was asked frequently was, when you guys are upset, or someone is upset, does that upset with the brother Kaasheef? Does that divide the household? Because you all live together. That's another thing. So I don't know if you said that, but you all live together. You have your own quarters. You have your own living quarters, and you all, but you still eat together. You have fixed meals together. So, play games together. You have family night together. Oh my gosh, I have a party every night. Yeah. So knowing that, one of my questions that was frequently asked before was, when one of you are upset, does that divide the household? Is the household ever divided by emotions? And so I personally answered for y'all. And I was like, I really don't think so. Like, they're just so easy going. I don't think so. And then Sister Layla, I love all of y'all, but I feel like Sister Layla is the one that's just gonna be like, no, let's hug. No, let's hug. Let's hug. And then, so, and Sister Jamila, I don't even know if she has an upset bone in her body. So, Sister Sabira, and I'm just telling y'all, analyzing them for y'all. But Sister Sabira, she seems the only one that might be just a teeny bit snappy. But I mean, I feel like you all really and it's crazy, right? Because it's not like, you all are in a sisterhood together. But you know how you have those friends and you all bring something to the table? Like, you can say oh yeah, we are all a good match, because we all have this, or, she's the funny one, or she's the sweet one. Oh yeah, she's the wild one, so we have to take her one. You all have different personalities. So you guys can answer it for yourself, though, how you would deal with that, or if you guys have those type of issues in the household.
It wouldn't last if it was if the house was divided by somebody getting upset, the house wouldn't last. So it has to get fixed immediately. So if ever there was a time where somebody was upset, we have to go and talk immediately and get, Shaitan out the house, because Shaitan wants us to be separated and want somebody to be upset.
You gotta tell the people who don't understand.
The devil, Shaitan, sorry, for those who don't know. He wants us to be separated. He wants divorce, and divorce is when somebody gets in their emotions and everybody. So we're not going to talk. You can't do that. You can't be I'm not going to talk to her because she's upset. No, I have to talk to her, because somebody put on Facebook today, and it was just ironic that we're coming down here. Somebody put on Facebook today, and they said a Muslim is like a building. Muslims are like a building, and so it's like you have to be a brick to your sister, or a brick to your brother. So it's like a building block. So you have to be there to support for that person. If they're falling down, you have to. If you let them fall, the whole house is going to fall. So for us, it has to be togetherness. It has to be, no, I'm not talking to her. That's not going to work at all. Anybody else?
She summed it up, huh?
I also want to add that if you look in history, I heard this from another individual, but it makes sense. If you look through history, all families, dynasties, etc., were always destroyed, not from outside, from within. And how that happens is that the people lose focus on the goal. The goal for us as Muslim families is to get the Jannah, which translates to paradise, the eternal place of bliss for those who please God. So that's our goal. So our goal is that. And we have a saying from our prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that you will not attain faith until you love for your sister, until you love for your brother, which goes for sister as well, which you love for yourself. That means that, and it's not talking about tangible, it's talking about, it can be tangible, but that's not the primary goal. The primary goal is that if I have a brother or a sister, my wife is my sister too. I don't mean biological, I mean my sister in faith. So that means that if she's doing something that's incorrect, then I have to advise her, politely, I have to advise her from God's words that, hey, this is not correct because you got to think about your creator. Don't think about me. Think about your creator. Get this pleasing him. Then think about what a final destination will be or could be for you. So that alone will trigger a heart. It's not hard to reform and rectify itself. And then that's how you eradicate the devil from the home. Because we have a narration from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and it says that the devil, he places his throne over the water. And the devil is amongst a species called jinn. And the jinn is something that God created out of smokeless flame. They're not walking fire, that's their origin. Smokeless flame is what people call demons. And the devil, he has his little henchmen. So the little henchmen, they come up to him and they brag about the corrupt things that they did throughout the day. And the devil says, okay, that's really nothing. Until that one comes and says, you know what I did today? I separated, meaning divorced, or caused tension between the spouses. I got them to separate. So the big devil says, come sit next to me. You've done your job. And he's pleased with that because his goal is to destroy the village. See what we talk about? To destroy, that's how the village gets destroyed. The village gets destroyed, it starts with a disagreement. And we have an answer for that. God has an answer for that. In the Quran, in chapter 4, verse 59, it says, obey God, obey his messenger, and those in authority, right? And if you have any dispute, then refer it back to God and his messenger, meaning go back to his legislation, his book, and go back to the example of his prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we do this hierarchy list right here, if we do that, then it eradicates a dysfunctional family, which will eradicate a dysfunctional society, which translation is a village. So that's it.
That was so good. Thank you. So when you asked, how can it restore the village?
Say again?
I was about to say when they asked, well, how can it restore the village? How can this restore the village? So I didn't get to hear earlier if you explained, but did you explain to everyone how it all began, how polygyny even began?
I'll realize it. So earlier, I don't know, some may have just joined, but polygyny, and just to clarify, Islam was not started with Prophet Muhammad. While many people have this misconception, and when I do say Prophet Muhammad, I am not referring to or Elijah Muhammad from the nation of what they call Islam. We Muslims, with all due respect, we don't affiliate with them. They are not authentic Islam. So I know a lot of people have this idea, or they may view something from Farrakhan and his people, and they think that this is Islam. While I'm telling you that it is not. Their belief system is totally different than ours. Because when I say Muhammad, people may think I'm talking about him. So that's why I mentioned that. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not start Islam. Rather, he finalized it. Allah finalized it and perfected it with the coming of Prophet Muhammad as the last messenger amongst a long line of messengers before him, including Jesus Christ, Moses, Abraham, Noah, Isaac, Ishmael, and the likes that we all know. So this is not a new religion. This is not a separate religion. This is not a new religion. It's not a different God. Allah is the God of Moses, the God of Jesus, etc. So the reason I'm saying this is because we can see from the previous scriptures, from what's left is authentic. And I said that was left because scriptures from the past has been altered, therefore allowing God to send another messenger with the same message and a new book. For example, Moses was here with the law, the Torah, and people disobeyed, corrupted, and then God sent Jesus. As an example, God sent Jesus with the gospel. People corrupted that, added to it, and God sent Muhammad. This time he sent the Quran, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He sent the Quran and he preserved it. We'll get to that a little later, possibly. But the point is, to answer the question, is that God legislated polygyny, and it's originated from him, not any man, not any woman. And all of the prophets, as can be seen in the previous scriptures, practice it. That's it.
Okay, so this is one of the reasons we're having this show so that we can all be educated, even myself. So one of the things I learned in school, because I went to an Islamic school, is that So one of the things I remember distinctly at 11 years old being told was that that during the time of war, when husbands were going away to war and they were dying, that when they came, when husbands came, when certain men came home, they saw families that didn't have more, and so those brothers took on other wives so that they could pretty much be taken care of. So these families weren't left to not be taken care of, and so that was one of the things that went in my mind with the whole restoring the village type of thing, because again, as a woman, we are built on emotions, and just the thought of not having our fairy tale, and I'm saying our, but I'm gonna say my fairy tale, Prince Charming come in on a white horse and just throw me on the back of the, well, not throw me, but put me on the back of the horse and sail off, just him and I, that thought, at 11, when he said that thought kind of exited my mind just a little bit, because I was thinking, okay, wow, so one day husband would have to take on another family if something happened. And of course, for an 11-year-old little girl, I was confused, but so now that I'm in the process of writing my book, that came back to mind. And I thought, wow, like right now we live in a time, men aren't just going away to war. Men are being killed daily. These our men are out here losing their lives daily, from being victims to unfortunately being the ones that are doing the victimizing. But it's a daily thing, and not to mention our wonderful President Trump is in office, which means that we may all have to go to war, men, children, and women, in a minute. But honestly, it just put those words into my head about, men having to take on other families. And so I thought, wow, I wonder if women now would understand or would be accepted. Would women today, during a time like now where, our men are dying, and so many women, and this is one of my crybaby moments. I was crying. I was just like, God, I'm a single mother and I'm raising these 9 children. Lord, why I gotta go through this? And I thought, wow, well, it's not just me. It's a lot of other women out here that are single moms. And, would you choose the option to be a second wife if that meant ending your struggle, ending your daily struggles of having to raise your children by yourself, having to teach your children by yourself, having to raise them, period, is just all, would you choose to be in a polygyny relationship? A marriage, not a relationship, but a marriage. So for me personally, I absolutely would choose that, because so much more to me to life than struggle. To be able to live comfortably and to be able to, have that security of having a husband at home, and having a husband there to be there for your children. And I think that would just restore so much that's broken in. If men, period, if a lot of men really took the time to step up and do their duty as men, and I mean men all over, but I'm gonna say our Muslim men as well, if they did their duty and took on other wives, then there would be less suffering out here in the world today. I personally believe. So I saw a comment that came up on the screen that said, and I'm not sure if you were asking me or asking a brother, but do we encourage polygyny? And I would personally say I encourage it because of just what I just said. It definitely would help restore, a lot that's been broken in the community, and in the community of our village. Hold on one second. Let me let everybody else answer as well.
Actually, you're right. Islam does promote and encourage polygyny. God himself does. The verse that I mentioned earlier, chapter 4, verse 3, he starts off and he says, marry 2. He didn't say 1 first. He said marry 2, 3, and 4. He said if you cannot marry this many because of some injustice on your own part, then 1. That would be more just. And then another place in the Quran said if you can't even do that, then fast, meaning literally fast, abstain from food and drink. And somebody might say, well, what does that have to do with anything? But medical science has said that when a person eats a lot, their blood becomes thicker. and your hormones are raging. So if you suppress your food and you suppress that for a period of duration, then your blood becomes thinner, you become fatigued, and you don't have the, I could say, savagely urge to go, have that urge like that. So this is the remedy. But to piggyback, as they say, of what you said before I let them, we have to think about something. There's, so it's gonna be my Baltimore, what is it? What do I call it?
Slang.
Not slang, my lingo, how I speak. So some words I say, only Baltimore people will know what I'm saying, but maybe not other places. But they have an organization, or the government has the Census Bureau. Bureau, right? Like FBI Bureau. Bureau. See? So the Census Bureau, they go around and they do population and so many other things. But what they do is they get a statistical number of how many people, boys were born, how many girls were born, how many men are in the house, how many women are in the house, etc. And a fact, and you can research, is that through the ages of time, there's always been in society a number of women than men. Like I said, you can research it. If you hypothetically think about this real fact, is that if every male, I'm saying male for a reason, if every male decided to become a man and get married, then there's going to be a group of women who are unable to get married. And I can only speak for our faith. And our faith, it does not allow a woman to be a lesbian. It does not allow, it doesn't encourage a woman to be alone, destitute with children, and to not be taken care of, because women are gems. GEM, gems, like crystals. So they should be taken care of. So like the sister said, if you have women who are struggling, why not stop struggling and get over some emotional, whatever, just some emotional baggage. Emotional baggage because of what your homegirl said or what she went through or what that. Most women, I can't say most, some women are this happy because they choose to be this happy, and they have someone in their ear, and the person in their ear really don't want you to be happy, so she's stopping you from being happy, or she wants you to remain miserable like her. But I got to go back further than that. A lot of women don't understand polygyny, a man taking more than one wife, because in our society, like she said, enough men are not standing up. So we have males who they prey on the ideal woman, and they play with her. They play with her emotions, and they knock her up. Kids might be watching. They knock her up, and I don't want to get too graphic, but they knock her up, and then she's pregnant. So then he dips. You know what I'm talking about? Like he bounced. Enough from Baltimore. Looking up Urban Dictionary. So he bounced. He leaves, and she's left alone. Right? She's left alone. So now she want to take him down child support. Is it the man's fault? No. Let me tell you why. It's both of their faults. I'm not just blaming the woman. It's both of their faults. Let me tell you why. The human was created to worship the Creator and follow the Creator. He knows better how we should live. So if we follow his legislation, we're going to have harmony. If we don't, the villages, that's what we're talking about. I'll go back to that. The villages are going to be destroyed. That's why you have so many illegitimate children, so much child support, etc. Because males are not being men. Because men provide for women, marry them, have commitment. So what's going on is these men, this total number of men, cowards, are out there having sex with these women, impregnating them, and when they get pregnant, he's dipping to the next chick, and next woman, and used to the people. So in her mind, she's like, man, this man ain't nothing, or men are dogs. She's saying men because she's been played so many times that maybe she sees one who's a potential good guy, but she already paints him as a bad guy because of her experiences. But at the same time, women, I have to tell you this, if I'm any part of being just, I have to tell you that you cannot have a baby against your will unless you're raped. Otherwise, it's mutual. And you didn't do your research on that man. You laid down with him or stood up and you opened your legs up and the man entered. I'm being real. I gotta be real. And the man entered and he became pregnant. And then when he dips off, you want to cry about it. I'm not being insensitive. I'm saying you're better than that. That's what I'm saying. You're a gem because you have the ability to research this guy. Father, meeting your father, that's not good for you. He doesn't even want to meet your father. He doesn't want to meet your mom. He doesn't want to meet your sisters and brothers. He doesn't want to know nothing about you. When you talk to him about what's going on, he changes the subject, et cetera, et cetera. And this is what's going on. And then you get pregnant, and then you get mad, and then you're going to have child support, and he's on child support, and he still ain't paying nothing, and you're getting mad. You're like, oh, he ain't nothing. You should have known he wasn't nothing from the beginning because he didn't talk about marrying you. He didn't talk about meeting your father. He didn't talk about meeting your mother, etc., etc. So why is polygyny meant for the people? Because it destroys those ills. And most women, newsflash, you're in it already, but just in a different way. You have a man who has a side chick or a girlfriend. If he doesn't, he's thinking about one. How can I say it with evidence? Because all men are polygynous by nature and women are monogamous. These are our two trials. Every man wants another woman, but God has placed a responsibility on it in a legislated limit. So if you follow that limit, then like the sister said, the society will be whole. Because right now, you got kids on the bus stop. We saw those videos where little young girl smacking the bus driver. She gets smacked back. Little kids throwing beer bottles at the bus driver, disrespecting elders. You got gang members. You know, gang members, people are cowards. I'm talking to gang members. If you're watching, I'm talking to you. You suckers, and you're cowards because you're not men. You're not following the messenger of Allah, so you are a coward. To me, I'll say it to all of your faces, you're a coward. Because you leave the women, you want to go out there and sell drugs, but you got your girl, as you call it, home. And then you're going to be neglecting her and the child because the police is going to scoop you up, and now you left without taking care of them anyway. So everything goes back to the obedience of God. If you follow that, then you'll understand that polygyny is a necessary mandate for men, not boys or males.
Let me just pass it to you, but let me just flow back real quick to where a lot of women probably was ready to throw something at this phone at their phones. Like, did he just say it's my fault? I really am happy that you elaborated on that, because what I urge for women to really understand. I mean, here I am now, 34, divorced twice, and I have 9 beautiful children. However, I can't go back and change what path I've already gone down. But one of the things I had to really understand and swallow is that the husbands that I married, unfortunately, were not men. And as mad and angry as I could be for them not being men, I not only did I marry them, I stayed married to them. And I enabled them to continue to be little boys. So what I really appreciate that you said was that women have to know that they are a gem. You really have to know your self-worth. If you are a woman right now, and even if you do have 1 or 2 children, and if you don't have any children at all, the one thing you can do from this moment on is change what happens tomorrow or in your next situation, or even in the situation you're in now. If you're dating somebody and this man has not even said one time, let me meet your mom and dad. Let's sit down and have a conversation about where we're going to be, in the future. And, one of the things we tell ourselves is like, okay, well, we don't want to put that much pressure on a man. We don't want to scare him off. No, scare him off. Scare him, right? Scare him off. So take heed to everything that the brother just said, because it's really for us to make sure that and ensure that, the next time we lay down with somebody, if we choose to lay down with somebody, that somebody is that right somebody. Because if it turns out that he's a bad dude, and if he's done all the things that we saying, because, I done had one of those too. Let me meet your mom and dad. Come to the mom and dad house, act like they all a part of the family, playing with the kids, throwing footballs in the air and all that good stuff. Let's get married, go to the match day, get married, all that good stuff, and still be high-tail crazy. After all that, then you can be mad, but still, just take it to the prayer. I'm telling you. Go ahead.
To elaborate on that, also remember the prerequisite that what I said to this is that don't rather scare him, test him. But even like you said, there's still some guys who want to meet your mom and they play games, but you got to still do further research. The prerequisite before that is that you have to see, is he godly? And how you see that, you test him. Is he going to be around? Look at his circle. That's what I mean. Look at his circle. Our prophet said, peace be upon him, he said, you can tell a person by his friend. If he's hanging with people who are into that kind of life, he's like that. You know why? He might not be actually doing it, but he's like that because he condones it, because he's with them. So you have to watch who someone hangs with. If they hang with an individual who's wholesome, then, maybe he's good. Maybe you sit with him in a correct way. And she says, then when you do lay down with him, but I have to put on that, you shouldn't lay down with him until you're married, because
I
know, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And further elaborate, I'm glad you brought that up. Earlier when I said it was your fault, I mean, both, like she said, I don't mean like it's your fault, like you just trashed. Like I said, I mean it's your fault at the time for not recognizing your value. That's what I meant. I didn't mean like you trash or nothing like that.
Yeah, because I mean I've had you know, I've heard that. I'm gonna say that. I've heard that before. You know, somebody say to me, you know, when I'm like breaking down tears, like, oh my God, you know, these kids, you know, it's so sad. One of my daughters, like, she suffered a lot, you know, when her father left. And I was like, you know, just going through it. It's like, oh, well, it's your fault. Like, you knew he wasn't good. And I was like, hold on a minute, ready to get them boxing gloves out, because I was like, you don't even know. But at the end of the day, I realized, like, you know, it was for me to really take the time and analyze. Like what I'm doing now, I need to know everything. I need to know who your great-great-grandmother was married to, what she did for a living, where she lived at, how did she chew with her mouth open or did she chew with her mouth closed? I need to know everything now. You know, so I got a whole list. I need to know about your cousin, sisters, uncle. I need to know about everybody. But you know, when you first start out, you know, when you're young and you're just, you know, I don't know. I was 14 when I got married the first time. I don't know, but I know, you know, when you're looking for a husband or you're dating ladies, you know, you look to date somebody and you're like, okay, this seems like the nice guy because he's nice looking, he has a job, he has a car, but you have to look beyond that. Like the brother said, you know, look at his friends. You know, look. Okay, I know y'all got a lot of questions because my producer back there keep raising her hand. So I'm gonna answer y'all questions in a second. Let me just, you know, pass the mic.
No, what's the question?
Yeah, go ahead. What's the question? You can start reading. She was like the whole time. Yeah, if they say a name, like
Someone said.
hold on, wait. Okay, so we're gonna read the questions now. I'm sorry, but if you guys have a specific question for a specific person that sits up here, if you could direct, like, say the person's name or first wife, second wife, third wife, if you could direct the questions in that fashion, or if it's for the brother or whatever, that would be awesome. But we're gonna go ahead. Go ahead. You can read the first one.
Someone said, Aaliyah Jidam said, ask the brother, do we have to follow the law of the land when it comes to marriage, and how do 2 or more wives get the U.S. lawful benefits of marriage?
That's an excellent question. So, our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said, and thank you for the question. It was an excellent question. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, he said to actually follow the laws of the land up until they contradict God's rule, because we don't believe in separation of, you know how the government, they say separation of church and state. That means that you got God's law, you got the man's law, and then you under the law, push God's law to the side. We don't believe in that. We follow God's law all the time. So actually, we are allowed to practice, according to the Constitution, freedom of religion. This is our religion, and we have the right to practice it, and this is in our legislation, and we believe it wholeheartedly. And I'll say that on the news, I'll say it in front of Donald Trump, and it really doesn't matter who he is. For real, I say it to his face, it doesn't matter. But anyway, so we are allowed to do this. And now, as far as getting a second, third, or fourth wife, we have an Islamic, one of them through the state. We have an Islamic, we do have an Islamic, marriage certificate for all of them. And it's notarized legally so that it can be recognized. Just like you had that show Sister Wives. Same thing with them. What they was Mormons, right? Uh-huh. Mormons. They're allowed to practice polygyny in a different way than us, though. Their limit definitely ain't 4. I think the man had 5. You know, but that's what they do. But my point to you, sister, the one I asked the question, is that we do have to follow the laws of the land up until they contradict what God say. So yes, we do have to follow that like I said, up until they contradict that. You also have to be wise too. You have to be wise, and that's it. I think that's the best way to answer that. So, there you go.
What's the next question?
The next one is, how was
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't finish her question. I'm sorry. She did excellent. She said, how do they benefit? I'm sorry. How do they benefit? Well, they benefit first because God said before you get benefits from the state, the man has to be the provider anyway. So that's how they benefit. They benefit because I listen to God and I by Allah's permission, meaning God's permission, because I didn't do this on my own. I own a business and have 2 forms of employment. So the money that comes in my family, and they know they can speak on this better than me. I can care less about myself. I'll be better if I go to sleep knowing I paid the rent and everything, and I can go to sleep without a dime in my pocket. If that's the case, knowing that all the obligations is fulfilled, I don't care. You know, I would like that. So, and that's how our house is. So now, how they benefit, that's how they benefit, by doing what God said and providing for them. So, sorry, that was the end of the question.
Okay, good.
Next question. Well, this is Kevin. He said, how would you build a village on polygyny? wouldn't everybody be related? Those are his. What?
Good question. All questions are beneficial because if you don't know, you have to ask. He said, how does polygyny benefit a village, right?
How would you build?
How would you build a village? And he said, isn't everybody related? So the answer is yes, everybody is related, but not in an incestuous way. Everybody is related in the human family because we are, God says in the Quran, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I'll say this in Arabic and then English. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. Translation: O mankind, be dutiful to your Lord, be respectful and fearful of your Lord, who created you all from one single soul, Adam, and from that soul created his partner, meaning wife, Eve, and from them two, many men and women. So, are we related in that sense? Yes, in the human way, the family way, the humanity way. But as far as polygyny, then like I said, there's so many women more than men, so that if every man married, it's going to be okay if you marry like that because it's going to build up the village because it takes a whole village to raise a child. Everybody heard that before. It takes a village to raise a child. That's what we're doing. So we even got to the point where our children are in authentic homeschool. They're not even exposed to games outside. They have authentic computer online school where they don't have to hear about transgender in the school. They don't have to worry about a boy thinking that he's a girl and able to walk in their bathroom. Because I will have a problem with that. And then, they will be taking me away. So we don't have to worry about that. So they stay home. So that's how it builds up a village. Because these children that we have, and I'm speaking of my children and the other children that I see who's also involved in polygyny, because I know a lot of families that are, and their children are the same way, homeschooled, so they can be removed from the girlfriend and boyfriend situation. When we send our children to school, we're directly indulging in what we call tabarruj. Our girls, our young girls, going to school dressed any type of way, and as prey, like how an animal, how the cheetah stands behind the bush and he watches. That's just how these boys do at school. When the girls come in, it's no bush. They watch them behind the locker or the door or the car or out their window in the car, and they pounce on them with words that affects a woman because a woman likes to be told that she's beautiful. She likes to be told that she looks nice, and automatically some women, the rationale goes out the way. But the women who remember who their Lord is, they check this fool. And they say, look, I ain't got no time for that. Beat it, or something like that.
So, hold on. Before you read another question, you already elaborated on that you are the provider for the household. And, of course, one of the questions that came also up was, if he couldn't provide, would you all still be okay with staying married and staying in polygyny?
Yes, because even if he couldn't provide, you're doing everything for the face of the law. Mm-hmm. So if you can, then you get the rewards for that. Mm-hmm. It's not about, okay, well, I'm going to kick him to the curb because he ain't got a job. No, it's not about that. It's about having a man who's a leader, who's teaching, who is providing you in a sense of wisdom and learning. So in that sense, he's still doing his job. Even if he didn't have a job, of course, and I think I would speak for all of us, we would definitely stay with him because he's a great teacher. So
it says to marry the man with religion. So when I married him, I wasn't looking at his pockets. I was looking at his character and his man. Mm-hmm. So as long as that doesn't leave, we're good. So okay. Anybody else?
And also, even if he wasn't working and I was paying all the bills, she was paying all the bills, Sarah was paying all the bills, he would still be the head of the household. He still want to be the leader, the teacher, the say so, under a law and the messenger, so he can sell them. So at that point, he still will be the head of the household. So I'm still not going nowhere.
Real quick, alhamdulillah, praise be to God that they feel like that. At the same time, God did legislate that the men are the protectors and maintainers of women. So all in all, it's good that they feel like that. But I'm a man, so I have to still say to them that if I couldn't provide, it's good that they will stay with me. But it's my job and my duty to find provision and not sit on my butt. So a man does have to provide. It's good that I have people like that or women like that who view me like that, but I still have to say that it is my job to provide, and I don't like sitting on my butt. I never have. So by Allah's permission, I've always had good employment. So wholesome employment too, not just any job. You know, you got to get your money in a wholesome way. So yeah, like that.
There are some viewers who missed that you all each have your own self-employment or your own things that you're doing. And so there is a misconception out there that, you know, when, having three wives.
Somebody they did just ask, do all your wives live in the same house or do they live separate? Do they live in separate homes? So they're from each other.
Okay, we're gonna answer that question in 1 second, but before we answer that question, I want them to each give you guys a little bit of what they do, and that just because there is that misconception that these three wives are just home being wives, and that they don't have a life outside of taking care of their husband or their children. But I want them to tell you themselves what they do.
So I own a business, ACN. It's a very lucrative business. And that's something that we do. Also, all of us together are doing a project called Muslimah Project. And it's helping those Muslim families that are in need of clothing, food, shelter. And we're getting all of the resources and everything, finances, and we're getting all the resources together to be able to help those, sisters, brothers, children out. And we want it to be nationwide. So that's something that we are actually working on right now. And it opens, it starts November 1st. So,
okay.
Yeah, so inshallah. So if anyone wants to donate clothing, finances, food, anything, please go to each of our Facebooks. Go to Rebuilding the Village, and she'll get in contact with us. So if you have anything, just give, and think of Allah first.
I own a business with ACN. It's an online store that provides essential services. And like Jamila said, we also are starting our outreach to not just Muslim families, but we want to start with inside the Muslim community, but throughout everybody's neighborhood. Everybody needs support. Everybody needs help. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
I own two businesses, and I'm also a full-time teacher. Also a wife, a mother, a co-wife. So I mean, everything that we do it for the sake of Allah. Yes. If we didn't have jobs, we're going to help out other people. Like me, I work outside of the home. So Jamila's like early morning. So here, you need help? So hey, you need help? You know what I mean? So it's like, you know what I mean? Even without, if they don't work outside of the house, inside the home, it's still work, and the payment isn't money, because we do things for the sake of Allah. So being a wife is a full-time job, even when he's not home. Mm-hmm. So being a mom, even when the kids at school, you still got laundry you got to clean, and they got homeschool. It's so much to be done. And even if it was not something to be done, you have neighbors, you have a mom, you have a sister, a brother. So it's always something to be done.
So one of the benefits I'm gonna just say I see right now of being a co-wife is just having an extra mom in the house. My God, that's gonna be like, your benefit, alhamdulillah, but that's gonna be a benefit because I know all those moms out there. We hear mommy 24/7. And to be able to have, a second, mom in the home to just be able to help, fluctuate that and just organize and structure those babies. So we can start. So since we're talking about babies, why don't we all share, like, how many children you guys have together?
Well, I have 4 daughters, and they're range from ages 17 to 13. And elaborating on what you said, it's moms in the house. So sometimes when Layla sees that I'm feeling under the weather, she'll, tell one of my daughters, leave her alone. She's like my little bat. Yeah, her little guard. So she helps me in that aspect. So it's really a great benefit to have your sister, your co-wives with you, in a sense of reminding, being a benefit, and also helping you raise your children as well, Islamically. So.
Yeah, and I think for my daughter, like, and for having different co-wives, when you have your daughters being a teenager and being a child, you feel like your parents don't understand you. So within that same household, you have another woman or another mom, co-wife, to come and sit and talk to your child. Because maybe what you're saying they're not getting, but when they hear it from another adult, on top of another adult, like maybe it's something that I need to listen to in regards to what my mom is saying. And I have two daughters. One is 13 and one is 7. And that's two daughters.
Okay, so we're 4, 5, 6. Okay.
Yeah.
I have 5. I have 2 girls, 3 boys. Ages 11, 9, 7, 7, and 4.
So you leveled out the boys. So let me bring some boys into this situation. Okay.
I have 4 not personals. I'm sleepy, sorry. That's personal. I have 4 biological children, but I don't differentiate between them and their children. We're all one family, so I got like more than the football team.
Yeah.
But all of their children don't live with us. Some of them live with their dad, and they come visit, back and forth like that. So and I want to mention something else. A question might arise. Well, since they have children that's not with me, how does that pan out with them dealing with their ex? Maybe that might be a question. So already has a solution for this. So with their children being from their ex, then I deal with them, meaning I communicate with their ex, so as to leave them comfortable and they don't have to unnecessarily speak to him. I speak to him. It can be no drama ever for her or them. So I communicate with the father, and he communicates with me. The children comes over like that. Harmony.
That's absolutely beautiful. My goodness, mashallah. So we are privileged to have Sister Layla's beautiful daughter here today. So one of the questions that may arise from all of you, and I know you have a lot that you're commenting, but I'm going to invite her over here on this couch. Come on, beautiful. And I'm going to let her introduce us. Hannah, Sister Hannah. So, Sister Hannah, I'm going to start with the first question. If you have questions for her while she's here, I know it's a lot of questions before this, but you can ask questions and I'll have them read to you. But my very first question is, you're a little shy? Oh, let me let you warm up to you. You by your mommy. You get your mommies. So that was my first question. How does it feel having 3 moms?
I don't know. It's just like it's all the same. It's like I have her, and if my mom's not feeling well, I have her or her, and it's like it doesn't feel any different with either one of them. It's just like I don't know how to explain this. It's just like I had this one, and she's all nice and lovely, and I have my own mom. I just love my mom, and so it's just you don't feel any different. You guys have to your mom still. It's not like any different with either one of them. It's all the same. It's like.
How old are you?
I'm 13.
She's like,
oh, you did so well. You did so well. So you're a very smart 13-year-old, and I think that that's how it should be. You should be able to just feel loved overall, and they have a lot of love within them, each other. So I'm sure it's just 1,000 times better with the babies. So you feel pretty secure, right? And you're very happy, right?
Yes.
You love your life.
Yes.
Right? And is it awesome? and you like chicken. So who's the best cook? I'm gonna put you on the spot. Are you scared? Are you scared to answer?
she's asked a difficult question.
No, I love my mom's cooking, but since it's on her, she goes crazy with it. Like she came out of here with crab fries, cheese crab fries, and then she had a meatloaf wrapped in beef bacon. And then I'm just like, I can't really say who's better hard because they all have different things that I just love. But it's a hard question to that. But if I would have to go for creative, I'll say her.
Creative, okay. That is creative.
Yes.
Never even heard of a meatloaf with beef. Okay, you got it. And cheese, okay. Yeah. So who's your favorite?
No.
No, I'm just messing with you. I'm messing with you. Okay.
I want to mention something else. Maybe somebody missed it, but as you can see in our house, there's really no favoritism. It's justice. She sits next to her mother, but she still said that someone else was creative in cooking while still acknowledging her mother, which shows that there's no hard feelings and no tension. Just in case you missed that.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What's the question?
It's for and I asked the question. She said to the brother, Allah created us by removing a rib from man, which should make our wants and desires the same as man. Why would you think only men have the desires to be polygamous?
It's okay.
Reality
We got it.
is women also desire that, and this is not a theory but fact.
With all due respect, I appreciate your question. It's not a fact. No disrespect to you, because let me tell you why I said it's not a fact, so you won't be offended. If you ponder, I'm talking to everybody. If you ponder, and I always answer like this, I don't want anybody to get offended, but I'm not going to offend the truth by lying. So the truth is what it is. So all of us exist, and we didn't ask to be in existence, but we're here. So that means some force placed us here, and for us, that's a law of God. So God in Christianity, how the Christians see it, how the Jews see it, as the Muslims see it, is the head honcho, as you say, or the ruler or the master of our life, the legislator. So whatever God says is what goes, and desires versus what he says is always going to lose. And you mentioned this earlier. Chapter 33, 36 of the Quran says this: it is not proper for a man or woman, it is not proper for a believer, man or woman, that when God and his messenger decree a matter or make a decision, that any of us should have any other option in the case. So that means this: God created men polygynous. It's already in the scripture, because it says men marry 2, 3, and 4. This is God talking. So he knows the creation better than we know ourselves. So these states, men marry 2, 3, or 4, and he specifically, explicitly mentioned a man to marry 2, 3, or 4. So far, I have facts. 2, 3, or 4, and if you can't, then marry 1. That's a fact already first for the man to marry more than 1. If we want to say fact, we have to understand what fact means, or the origin of fact. When we say fact, we can't use an opinion that we like and say fact. Not saying you're doing that, but here's an example. No matter what your religion is, if you take people outside and they're not colorblind or insane, mentally impaired, if you ask them what color is the sky, any sane, logical individual will say blue. And they're all different religions, but that's a fact that everybody has to come to grips with. Another fact is that in the Bible that you have, in the Torah that the Jews have, and in the Quran that we have, many of the messengers and prophets and messengers had more than one wife. In none of those scriptures, even the Christian people who are, maybe she's Christian, I don't know, who's asking or viewing or listening, then you can't find one scripture in God's books where a woman had multiple husbands. This is a fact. So if that's not the case, it's all automatically a case that men are polygynous and women are not. Because if they were, God would have spoken on it and said, women, marry 2 men, 3 or 4, and if you can't, 1. He did not. There's a wisdom behind it. 4 husbands, let's just say 4, and she gets pregnant, there's going to be bloodshed. I'm telling you, because when she gets pregnant, I call my man, like, yeah, man, my co-husband. I don't even feel like saying that, but if that was allowed, then I would have to be okay with it. But it's not. But if it was allowed, I'd say, look, Joe, I don't know that name came. Look, Joe, or Rashid. My man, our wife pregnant.
This is a whole mess. This is a whole mess right now.
Our wife is pregnant. That's my son. I'll be like, nah, that's my son. You know I want a son. I'm like, yeah, I do too. Tension's coming. But if a man has 4 wives, or 3, or 2, or even 1, she gets pregnant, all of those babies are attributed to that man. You see, these are facts versus opinions. And I respectfully say, if you have a fact that a woman is polygynous, then you have to present it. But my fact came from the creator, the creator himself, God.
All right, and then I got sidetracked. But I'm gonna read. I have some questions. as well for you. So I'm going to read my questions, but while I'm going to my questions, let me allow you to answer everyone's question, or whoever would like to answer it, as far as do you all live together?
Yes, we all live together. We all have our own levels, and you know, we sometimes have our space. We do things together in our own spaces. We watch movies together. We study together. We do a lot of things, but we do have our own space and we do live together.
That's it.
Okay, is there another question while I'm going to my questions?
Want me to read it?
Go ahead.
Someone said, Allah said, if you know best, you would marry one because of the hardship and unjust ways that can come out from mistreatment of having more than one wife. You could never treat multiple women equal. Let him know.
Good question, a good statement. And here's the understanding. As Muslims, we have to remember, Allah says in chapter 4:59, excellent question or statement. Obey him, his messenger, and those in authority. The reason I said this is because the Quran was revealed in Arabic, not English. The Quran was revealed in Arabic and translated into English, so that you have English words that are close to the actual meaning, close or maybe not so close, but just enough for you to understand. The reason I'm saying this is because we have something called tafsir, which is an explanation of the verse. It is not explained by some layman. It is explained by a scholar of Islam that guides information through a chain of narrators that leads all the way back to the companions and finally the Prophet himself, who got revelation from the Creator. So did Allah say it would be better for you? No, he didn't. He said it in Arabic, and the Arabic translation says that, and the tafsir, the explanation is that God said, get 2, 3, or 4. And when he says, if you can't, it directly means money and time. This is the explanation from the scholars. Money and time. The other verse that she mentioned is the verse where it says, and you can never be just. Even if you ardently try to be just with them, you can never be. Here's an example. If I buy all of my wives a flower, you know, like a rose, right? Let's just say in my mind, it means this. I'm trying to be just. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get all 3 of my wives a flower so nobody can complain. So I go get 3 roses, right? So I bring them back and I give 1, 2, 3. I'm like, yes, I did it. And then Sabira might say, why'd you give me the same? I'm not saying she's gonna say it, but she might say, why didn't you make mine white? How come mine gotta be red like this? Meaning that this is what God is talking about. You can never be just to the fullest measure, even if you try, because women's nature is like that. But Allah says, do your best to fulfill justice. That's it.
Okay, I was like, wait a second. If you get all of them roses, everybody should be happy. I'm glad you said that, because I probably would be like, okay, wait a second. So her rose bigger than my rose? So, I'm sorry. No, but see, this is why I'm not in polygamy because polygyny yet, because I gotta get it together. But one of the questions that I was asked before even going to my little question thing was all genuinely happy, and because they, you know, we see you're happy, but are you all genuinely happy? And are there times when you, oh my gosh, let me find this, are there times when you find yourself being sad and just don't want to say that you're sad, but are you really sad? They told me to inbox that to you, but I was like, no, this is going to ask for that long. They're going to answer. So go ahead. I'm going to do it to y'all know she can get y'all wrong with answer. Hold on.
Okay, the question was, are we
Genuinely happy? Mm-hmm.
Okay. Am I genuinely happy? Yes. Only because this is the way that it's supposed to be. You know, this is the way Allah legislated it to be. Because before, when I thought I was happy and I did it my way, I wasn't really happy. So the time you're talking about you're really sad, but you don't want people to know, I was that way before. You know, and I was trying to cover it up. Oh, it'll be all right. It'll get together. Just take some time. Just chill. Be all right. It'll get together. But now, I don't have to have those sad feelings. The only thing I'm sad about is that I had to go what I went through before to, you know what I mean, to understand it and to get here. But that was Allah's decree. So it's like now I am genuinely happy because my husband, my co-wives, the children that are coming up under us, you know, the people that we get to speak with and grow with and talk to. This is genuine happiness that I've never experienced it. Like I never understood it. I never thought I would be here. I never like my own desire, my own ignorance. No, I'm good. I'm good. No, going about your business. I see you. I'm fine. I'm fine. But it's like to be here now. Alhamdulillah that I'm here, and you know I'm grateful that I got to experience it. Like inshallah, you know, drop your emotions, get out your feelings, like follow this religion. Alhamdulillah. So yeah.
I think I said it to Sabira and Jamila last week. We were praying, and in the midst of prayer, it was like, it's one of the verses that we say, to you seek for aid, to you seek for help. And it was just like, we rely on the law so much. And his decree, like because he has the decree, he has it already written for what's going to happen for us, to us. And it was like my plan had nothing to, it was like nothing compared to his plan. And being here now and seeing how we grow as Muslims ourselves and how we grow as Muslims together and how we're trying to grow even the ummah outside of our home, I felt so overwhelmed with like tears and like, you know, appreciation, gratitude for Allah. Like his plan is beautiful. So yes, I am extremely happy being here. And like Sabir said before, I was looking for this. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I was looking for this. And Allah gave it to me. So alhamdulillah.
I feel the same way for both my co-wives, my husband. But to elaborate that, people inbox all of us all the time. And they ask, how can y'all be like this? How can you be like this? We fear our Lord. And we follow Quran and Sunnah. But also, you know, we deal with Shaitan every day. He's an open enemy to us. And we have to understand that. We have to get rid of that. And we have to always seek Allah's guidance and help in that. So if you fear your Lord, if you do that, inshallah, Allah will make it easy for you. You know, you're going to get rid of that jealousy. And if you do have it, you're going to go to Allah and ask Allah to remove it. So, you know, that's the only thing. You fear your Lord and you want to do everything for the face of Allah. And you try your best to get to Jannah. So that's the reason why, you know, we don't have these jealousies or infights or anything like that.
Okay, let me clear something up really quickly. First of all, I'm not sure where people were when this beautiful young sister came and joined this panel. I'm so tongue-tied right now, like I don't even know how to but I'm not sure where you guys were. But the young sister that's sitting on the couch, the 14-year-old, the 13-year-old is definitely Sister Layla's daughter. Is not the brother's wife. So they don't feel any type of way about him marrying a 14-year-old because he didn't marry a 14-year-old. I'm sorry, can you turn this camera to me so I can talk to them, please? They don't feel any type of way about him marrying a 14-year-old because he didn't marry a 14-year-old. That is his stepdaughter. And if he had, it is permissible in Islam for a 14-year-old who is in puberty to get married because, as I said when the show started, I was definitely 14 years old when I got married. And not that I'm encouraging that or not that I'm applauding that, but what I will say is I wasn't a 14-year-old little girl that was out here sleeping around. I wasn't a 14-year-old girl that was out here being taken advantage of. I had a husband, and I'm sorry, I don't want to argue with y'all, but I'm just like, what? If he did, you know, how would that?
I want to say something about that. Well, thank you for clarifying this. So that's not the case, but here's what goes on. Here's a fact, because people want facts. Here's a fact. There are 14-year-old girls who are your daughters. I don't mean generally who ask that question, but I mean who are your daughters. And they're out there. You see them holding hands with a boy. You see them sleeping with them. I mean, you don't see them, but you know they are because they come back with big stomachs and they say, "Oh, Mom, I'm pregnant. Oh, Dad, I'm pregnant." And then you get mad, maybe for a little bit, and then you say, "Well, I'm going to assist you," but you will be willingly to assist your daughter in a wrong, immoral relationship with a boy who's not showing no commitment. A boy, I didn't say a man, a boy who's not showing any commitment, who has her, sleeps with her, get her knocked up, and then she comes back crying like, "Oh, he left me," or such and such. But when it comes to a girl who's of puberty, who is mature and she wants to get married, you have a problem with that because society tells you that that's a problem. But society never tells you there's a problem for your 14-year-old girl to be a hoe. I'm real, sorry. To be a hoe. Go around and sleep with every dude that she see in the school. She see the dude with the 20-inch rims and she want to get with him. That's a hoe. So definition easy. So listen. So now that she wants to get married is a problem, but let me hit you with a fact and I'll give it back to her. Here's a universal fact, like I talked about the sky earlier. Universal fact. No woman before puberty can have a child. It doesn't work. So in order for a woman to have a child, which goes back to our topic again, everything goes back to building the village. In order for a woman to have a child, she has to come on a menses. Meaning at that stage, when a woman comes on a menses, it allows her to know if she's old enough to have a child. But is she responsible enough to have a child? Yes, if she gets married. Because if she's not married, like the realization is that when girls who are 13, anybody know any girls who are 12 who got married? Anybody know? Anybody ever heard of that? All right, well, I know 13. Right. There are some women, I'm talking these street girls. There are some girls out here who are 13, maybe 12, because I only know 13, and they're getting pregnant. I meant to say pregnant. They're getting pregnant. So if they're getting pregnant, the right to be mad at them. And if you're going to help them, this is how you should help them. You should help them by reminding them of who their creator is so they can rectify the situation, go make that boy become a man, marry her, and then do something like that. But until then, am I okay with marrying a 14-year-old girl? Yes, it's in my religion. Am I married to a 14-year-old girl? No, I'm not. Is it okay? Yes, because age is abstract. When you meet a person, you don't meet their age, you meet the person, and you talk to the person, and you get their mind, and you meet this, and you meet that. And then they say, oh, by the way, how old are you? That comes later. But for the record, like she said, that's my stepdaughter. You should, if you're going to speak, you should speak with knowledge.
Yes, watch the show, ladies and gentlemen, and pay attention. I'm just like, it caught me off guard because we definitely introduced her properly. And she spoke about you all being her mom. So that would just be kind of weird. Now, wouldn't it? I mean, come on now. We're not going to take on a child. But another thing I just wanted to say, for those who are out there that are outraged in this very moment saying like, oh my God, did he say that he would marry a 14-year-old? Me being married at 14, I was a very lost child. I was very, very lost and confused. And Allah, allowed me to go down the journey he did with getting married at 14 and having my children. And as much as I didn't want that for my daughters, I understand it now. One of the things I understood now was that, if Allah made it possible for me to have a child at 14, then why would it not be okay for me to be married at 14? It would have been better. And I'm not going to say it would have been better because Allah does what he is supposed to do. I would have thought that, if I had married, if I was married to a brother, or not me, again, let me not say what if, but if a 14-year-old girl marries a man at 14, it should be a man who's willing to truly be a husband to that 14-year-old so that she can still be, a wife, so that she can actually be a wife, and so that she can actually be a mother, so that she can actually do the things that she's supposed to do. Because one of the things that's going to happen every month is she's going to have a menses. One of the things that's going to change is her body is going to change. One of the things that's going to change is her mind is going to change. Then she's going to start to wonder. We see every day these 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds that posting pictures all over in social media. They're out here, they wanting to get attention of, from the men. And as mothers, we can just be like, no, cover up. And then as soon as they leave out of our sight, they half naked again, trying to get attention from a man. Why not secure your child and say, you know what? Well, let me just make sure that I have her secure. If this is, what you're trying to get, instead of shielding her from that, we want to shield her from that type of life, but, protect her in that way. And only someone, I guess, that is, God-fearing and understands the whole dynamics of it would understand what I'm even saying right now. Because for me, I'm surprised myself I'm saying this, y'all, because a couple years ago, I've been like, Lord, y'all just don't know. I had to get married at 14. It was horrible, but I understand it now because I'm a mother of 7 daughters. And my 7 daughters are all different, and I have that one, and Lord knows if she put on another half shirt, I might lose my life. because I'm gonna have to hurt her. But you know, I understand now. Like as much as I want to say I don't want her to get married, I would rather that. I would rather her get married. I actually even, put it out there. Like, you know what? Do you want to get married? I had that conversation with her because I would much rather her get married and be, protected and provided for, as opposed to just get into the arms of one of these dudes out here who saying that they 17, whole time they 25, telling her they gonna buy her the world, whole time they gonna give her the bug. I would rather a better situation. I'm just being honest. So I know that the entire show is not about that, but that is pretty much another way you go full circle of how you restore the village. I mean, it's not that any of us want to see a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old or a 11-year-old girl pregnant, but as an advocate and a counselor for young women in foster care and group homes, let me tell you what happens. I just got an inbox the other day of a 12-year-old that's pregnant. So it happens. So instead of just having this 12-year-old be pregnant out here in the community, now she's lonely. We know the father is probably nowhere to be found, because who would want to say that, get it together. So, but let me answer some more questions. Let them answer some more questions. Go ahead, baby.
Someone said, what made you want to have 3 wives, and why didn't you just want 2 or 1? Answer that.
Good question. Maybe you wasn't here earlier. I said that it actually wasn't my own.
I'm saying, it's somebody that just joined.
Okay. It actually wasn't my idea. It came to me through my family, me and my wife's children, and her, and we all sat around and we collaborated. I told them that I would pray about it, and I did. I prayed about it, and it was beneficial for us morally, so I did it like that. That's what happened.
Another question is for the sisters. Someone said,
sisters or sisters?
Sisters. Is their family, what their families involved in their
What their families?
Yeah, families involved with, I guess you. It's saying.
I think we're going to assume that they're asking y'all, did your families know about the marriage, or were they involved, or how they take it? You can answer all that.
My family knew about the wedding. Nikah's wedding. They knew about it. Some of them were against it. Some of them weren't. But that's something that.
You're the first wife.
I'm the first wife, and it was a problem. But in a sense, you have to go with what Allah states, and marriages have for me. So you can have the naysayers, and they're going to be in your family, and you can have the gays, and they're going to be in your family. So you do it for the sake of the law, not for what anybody says to you or how anybody else feels, because that's not what Islam is about.
For me, my family, I wanted them to be involved, but because I was coming into a polygamous situation, they weren't really accepting of it, and I think I still have to talk to them about it and explain to them that this is something I chose, something I wanted, and I think they are okay that I'm okay, but they don't see for the most part. And it's something that is still an ongoing conversation where I have to explain to them. And sometimes they get it, and sometimes they just let us know. So that's as far as my family is involved in it.
I am the 3rd wife, and my family was not involved because I didn't tell them. It wasn't up to them. Whether they liked him or not, I didn't care. He was pleasing to Allah. He was, what he was supposed to be. So.
Your mom, you cool with that?
Yeah.
T-Mom is cool with it.
My mom, yeah. Oh my goodness. My mom, okay, for you to say that, my mom, she says all the time, she says often, how there's a difference, how she has peace, as a mother, I'm grown, what you mean you got peace? She's well, I don't have to worry about you. I don't have to think about you. I don't have to worry about my grandkids and, who's this, what's that, what's going on, this, that, and the third. So it's alhamdulillah, my mom is pleased with it. But before, no, they met him afterwards. Oh, here you go. They still feel well, who is he? Where are he at? Okay. I'm happy, he happy, we all happy. So alhamdulillah. And yeah, y'all can come meet him when y'all come to the crib for that it's on Saturday for that information, right? Inshallah.
Okay. To the person that keeps on commenting about him being married to a 14-year-old, know that your comments will be deleted because I'm gonna keep it nice because I have these beautiful people here, so I'm gonna keep it nice. But your comments will be deleted and no longer acknowledged. Clearly, as we stated before, that is his stepdaughter. But Tina from Virginia is saying that most men have side women anyway, so I can respect the fact that a man I can respect that a man open to being honest about it, marrying a woman and providing for them and showing responsibility by questioning is how was the reaction from the first wife? So that's a really good question because wait till y'all see the reaction.
I can't do the reaction because Tabarruj, which is too much over. But, when I met my co-wives, I was excited. I gave them hugs. I got to know them, and they got to know me. They got to know my children. I got to know their children. So it was an aspect of, yay, you're coming to the family, but it was more of a 10 times yay. So I wasn't upset or anything about that.
Yeah, because you're the second. Yeah. So for me, I was ecstatic by her reaction because in my head, I'm like, okay, if she shows any signs of like not wanting this, I'm not going to do this because it tells me like how things start and sometimes how things end.
Right.
So if it started off good, we're good. And it started off alhamdulillah, very good, like her reaction. And even when Sophia came in, like I gave her a hug, like we were all like hugging, like happy, like got married, like, you know, when each one of us, I think, came into the marriage like ecstatic or excited or hugging or celebrating or we want to go out, we want to do something. So it was always a good situation.
So we're going to pass it to the last one because now the question arises is how would you feel, Sister Savira, if fourth wife was added? Oh, look at that hand, y'all. Look at that hand.
Alhamdulillah. And I say that because I am the third wife. I came into where there already was two wives. And you know, by law's permission, they was like, nope, we don't want no more. Two is enough. Like we good here, we good there. Like I would have been by law's permission where I was, still ignorant, still struggling. Because me, I am my own backbone. But let me correction. I was my own backbone. Mm-hmm. I didn't depend on nobody. I didn't worry about nobody. I didn't need help from nobody. I did it myself. But it's like coming here, I'm like, you don't have to be like that. Relax, be cool. Like we got you. So it's like to extend that to somebody else, to know that they have a husband that's teaching them, that is kind to them, that's nice to them. He ain't putting them in a headlock. He ain't punching on them. He ain't putting a head through a wall. To know that, you know, to know that, you know, there's a sister that can get the same love and affection and happiness that I have. Please, come on.
Oh, wow.
Come on.
That is like, yeah.
Come on. Come on.
Y'all take one for your sister, what you want for yourself to another level. That's a beautiful thing, though. It really is because, you know, it's so unselfish. Right now, that's my word for, I guess, going into 2018 is learning to be unselfish. And being unselfish means, you know, sharing something that you have that's so sacred to you, and it feels so good, like you can share. So your husband, you know, to want for another sister to have the same happiness that you have, may Allah reward you. May Allah bless you all, seriously. So the other question arises that do you have to ask, well, does your husband have to ask you all, first, I guess, well, does he have to ask for, to take on a fourth wife? Did he ask to take on the second wife or the third? So I'm gonna start with the first question. Does he have to ask to take on a second wife?
No, he doesn't. Actually, he doesn't even have to tell. But our husband is so he thinks about everybody, and he wants everyone to be able to get along, to be able to learn from each other, talk to each other, be able to have that connection. So with him, and I always say to him, I would like to see whoever he marries, because you have the children involved, and you want to be able to have those children and have the relationship as well. So in that sense, no, he do not have to ask me. So who am I to sit here and say, no, you can't have that? And as I said before, you do all of this for the face of the Lord. You get the rewards from him, and your goal is to get to Jannah. And if him taking on 2, 3, 4 is me getting to Jannah, then alhamdulillah, do it.
I got the first part, so no, he doesn't have to tell us that permission. But kaasheef, when he, every time he but with Sabira, and I think Sabira told me, even with me, and I know with me, when I came in, I met the family, and when Sabira, when he wanted to marry her, she came in and met the family. So because you're joining a family, it's not just you by yourself; it's you joining, the rest of his family as well. We're joining him, and he's a part of our family as well. So it makes you it gives you a full eye view. Like, I have to care for these people as well, because he has to care for these people as well. So it also lets you know how much he really has on his plate to be a husband. Because if you just get married and you only see him, you're only thinking about him. You're only seeing him. Or when you see all the other families, it's like, okay, I have to be considered that she has him and she has her family. They have a family together.
Right.
So it's like, the way he does it makes it better for us to be I guess together, like a unit. So yeah.
So we know how they feel about all of it. So how do you feel? Are you even open to having a fourth wife? Are you at your limit? Is this a bit much? You got some pretty powerful sisters here. How do you feel about that?
I know it was asked that. So the answer is, I feel whatever Allah is legislating. That's what I feel. And I believe that Allah said a man can take 2, 3, or 4, but to put a note in, that does not mean it's mandatory. Man does not have to take a second. He does not have to take a third. He does not have to take a fourth. Allah says, enter into Islam wholeheartedly. Submit to all of it. So to the men and the women. Men, you believe it or not, you'll hear some men say, well, I'm against polygyny. Then that means they're against their Lord, because Allah legislated it. You hear a woman say, I'm against polygyny, she's against her Lord because Allah legislated it. But to the point, am I okay with it? Yes. Am I open to it? Yes. Am I welcoming it? Yes. I do make a stipulation. My stipulation, and this is not one of God's stipulations, I'm not saying I'm going against it, is that any woman who wants to join our family, I make it upon myself, which is permissible, to get along with my family. That's just something a man can do, because I want the wholesome structure of my family. So I'm not about to let anyone, even them, I'm going to say even them. If a new person comes to my family, one of them thinks that they're going to bash the new one unjustly, they got to go. And they've been around, you understand? Because it's justice, it's not favoritism. I don't show more favoritism to her because she's number 1, or to her because she's number 2, or to her because she's number 3, or the 4th if there will be. You understand? If there's a 4th, she gets the same rights as the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. Nothing is there's no number category here except for who you marry 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, because the rule is the same. Be just to them, so there's no difference.
So I know that first let me read this one. Karen from Baltimore is asking, where can it be that a man can marry more than one woman? I mean, more than one. Well, one woman, of course, but more than one. And also, how can the practice help society today? I thought that was an awesome question.
Cool. The proof of this is not only in the Quran, but first the Quran, chapter 4, which is titled "The Women," by the way, and verse 3. Chapter 4, verse 3. And the Bible is many places. And just to put a side note out there, if anyone wants to comment and say, well, that's the old scripture, or the Old Testament, or the older days, you have an explicit, on one of my lives, if you watch, I give the definition of explicit and implicit. Explicit is direct to the point. Implicit is something to the fact. So explicitly, Jesus Christ is reported to have said in Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, I have not come to destroy the law of the prophets, the law, but I've come to fulfill, or tittle will change from the law, meaning what Moses came with, until earth and heaven pass, meaning judgment day. And whoever changes or alters that will be considered the least in the kingdom of heaven. So my point here is this: you'll say to some, some Christians, and they're right by saying this, they're absolutely right. They'll say, well, homosexuality is wrong, and it is. They're correct. But if you ask them, hey, by the way, what section of the Bible is that in? They're going to tell you the Old Testament. You know what I'm saying? And they're correct. And what they said is correct also. But when you tell them don't eat pork, they're like, oh no, we can eat pork. But it says don't eat pork. They're like, well, that's the Old Testament. But you just came from the Old Testament about homosexuals and you were right. So that means now you're picking and choosing. You know what I'm saying? You're picking and choosing. So is it allowed? Yes. And the point of me saying is that in the previous scriptures, stated that Abraham had 2 wives, Sarah and Hagar. Solomon had 700 reportedly. David had 2, and etc. like that. So there's evidence.
Okay, I'm gonna let somebody else ask a question before I answer. Go ahead. Oh yeah, 1 second.
Beneficial to the village, and this earlier, but I'm gonna keep mentioning. Verse from the Quran, chapter 4, verse 1, and it says that you have to be dutiful and remember your Lord who created you from one man, Adam, and he created his mate, which is Eve, from him, and scattered many men and women. If everyone who takes this practice of polygyny and marriage in itself raise the children upon what God has legislated, this will be the empowerment and betterment of our society, where you won't have to complain about, oh, we're killing each other, like you said at the beginning, right? What did you say? We're killing each other. We're doing this. We're doing that. You know what I mean? Like that.
Exactly. Okay, go ahead.
The question is for the sisters. It said, how do you settle disagreements among each other?
I'm glad we went back to that too, because I wanted to just say real quick, you can answer that question, but one of the things you said earlier was that you all immediately have a conversation. So I'm big on family. My producers are my kids, so they'll tell you. I'm really big on having family meetings. As soon as something goes wrong, it's time for a family meeting, and everybody needs to be present because we need everybody to talk together. We have a conversation, we work it out, we pray at the end of it, and we go on. So you can answer their question, and then you could. And I'm just curious, when you say that you all meet, do you all have like that? Everybody together in one room, let's talk, or do y'all have y'all private, separate, like let me work it out with this person type of situation?
Can I mention something real quick? Just to be just, I have to say this, that I'm gonna clarify. They're gonna clarify. But when we do have a meeting, for example, if I have an issue with one of them, the whole family's not gonna know about it because it's not their business. So when they get ready to talk, they'll clarify that. But I want everybody to know that how I am when I deal with an individual. If they did some error, I'm not gonna say like a major crime, like an error, maybe a mistake. I mean a mistake. They did a mistake. I'll talk to them. If they did it with me privately, nobody else needs to know about it because that's between me and them. If something is done which is rare, that in front of everybody, then that's what they talk, like a child or something. Then the family meet. But they'll elaborate. Just wanted to say that.
Okay.
Yes, we do have family meetings, like Ashley said. If it's something to where, something, a mistake was made, you have to correct that mistake. If it's in front of everybody, you definitely have to correct it because it's a learning lesson for you. And sometimes we have separate talks, like if it's just me and the wives. Sometimes if you see something, just say, okay, let's go ahead and remember a law. Let's go ahead and remind you. That's what they do. They benefit you and they remind you. They tell you, to fear law. If you're doing wrong, I would want that. Tell me to fear law. If you see something that is not right, speak on it because that's what we're there for, to be a benefit and reminder to each other.
It's the same thing. It's like you said, we have if there's ever a time where there's like tension. I don't like tension. I don't like tension in any type of situation. I like to be away from it. For one, I'm a reminder for my sisters. I'm a reminder for my daughters. I'm a reminder for her children, and they're a reminder for me as well. So, like I said, to keep Shaitan, to keep the devil. He doesn't want us to have a village. He doesn't want us to have our family communicate and get the problem solved, because Shaitan will whisper and add more and more when you just easily talk and just soften your heart and not harden your heart to your sister and swim.
But communication is important. You got anything to say?
Same thing.
That communication is important. It's super important in a relationship, period. So I know it has to be extra important in a situation like this where you have so many people, you know. But I think you guys do an amazing job at it because y'all all just bloomingly happy. And I get to follow, I don't know if I'm following anybody else, but I see Subera's posts more than anything. And I know I saw a post where she was like sick. And you all, like somebody was commenting in the thing when she was sick. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so I just be jealous now. Ain't nobody over here trying to comment on me. But anyway, back to this question. So Tony from DC is asking, are you allowed to sleep with all of them? Oh my gosh, I think every man that's watching right now want to know that.
No. The answer is no. That's not permissible. That's unjust, savage, like an animal, barbaric. With this legislation, Allah also preserved kindness, hikmah, which is wisdom, and what's another word? I don't know, civilized behavior, I guess. Morals. Yeah, morals. So that is, that will provide a type of blameworthy jealousy for a woman to see that action. We don't believe in threesomes and nudgy 12s and all that, because that alone produces hatred, natural hatred for someone, because she might experience something with her eyes that, you know, I don't want to talk about it. It's not allowed, no.
Okay, Crystal from the UK asks, how do you all deal with jealousy? Do you find yourself feeling jealousing your husband with the other wives? Are you all affectionate in front of each other? That was a lot. I'm gonna pass it to the sister that like this. Like, oh. I was stop messing with you.
Okay. What was the question again?
Okay, the jealousy. How do you all deal with jealousy? And I guess pretty much like, do you find yourself being jealous, being in kisses, hugs with the other wives?
Okay. First of all, I have never seen my husband kiss another wife.
Wow.
It doesn't happen. That is a act of intimacy. That's stuff between you and your husband. That's stuff between you and your wife. You know, that's personal. That's what y'all do in your time. So he
Stay so nice. Okay, I'm getting it. Sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
And as far as jealousy, I was a very, 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 very extremely jealous person. I was that one. Oh, you looked at her too long. You like her? That was me. I was a very jealous person. But like I said, coming into this family and to see the happiness that he has brought me as an individual, I can only go off my own experience. Coming from previous relationships, whatever case may be, to where I am today, to know that the happiness that I have, they have it as well. You know what I mean? Like everybody has a story. Like I said, everybody has a story to tell.
Right.
Everybody had where they came from, what built you, you know, what caused your emotions, your problems, your this, your that. But it's like to know that these sisters are no longer going through those situations, and to know that they have, you know what I mean, a man that is treating them good, treating them well, you know, and them being happy. And I know my happiness. I know they got that happiness. I'm like, go ahead, girl. I don't know what brought you to the situation, but you deserve that. You understand what I'm saying? Be happy with it. If I walk in the house and she rubbing my husband's feet, I'm like, well, let me rub it with you. You know what I mean? So
that is deep.
Yeah, so it's like the jealousy is not, well, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. It's like, oh, let me step my game up. You know what I mean? So once again, it's a reminder. You know what I mean? So,
Well, for me, I guess the non-jealous one. Like I went to I guess because I went to an all-girls school and I hated to see other girls tear each other down.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was like, why are you jealous? Like I could see how we are all similar. We all want the same thing. We all act the same way. Like for you to tear somebody down because they're a little different from you or whatever. I always said, I don't want to be like this. So whenever I see somebody getting good, I'm like, good. Like even if I'm not getting good, I'm like, you're getting good. So good. Like good for you. That's what the Lord decreed for you to have anyway. So who am I to be mad about that? Maybe the Lord's gonna bless me in something even. Give me something better, give me something different, and whatever he does give me, I should say, alhamdulillah, be grateful for that. So when it comes to jealousy, I don't have any jealousy when it comes to especially for my co-wives, unless they're learning a lot more swords than me or learning something about this religion. I'm like, oh, now I'm done. I gotta keep up. Oh my goodness, that's your stuff. Like, listen, I don't worry about none of it. Right when we just walk in and we can say Assalamu alaikum, and then she can say she green any castle, alhamdulillah. But until they come,
Right.
We'll do.
I just want to elaborate on that. I've had people come in my inbox and ask me, how do you deal with jealousy? How do you, and this is, I'm going to keep on answering it this way, fair law. There are some people who do have jealousies. But as you grow in this religion, as you start understanding, as you start like really like, coming to terms with saying, okay, Allah first. And sometimes women make mistakes. They do. They make mistakes. Sometimes shaitan gets the best of them. But you have to, it always comes back to Allah. You have to remember that Allah is there. Allah is going to help you with it. So, fair law, learn about your Lord, learn about this religion. That's it. And it'll take that jealousy away. Inshallah. Like I said, it's not going to magically dissipate, but in the same way, as you learn, it's going to go. It's going to go. And like Layla said, you're going to start getting jealous about the good things. Like, oh wait, she knows a sword, let me go ahead and get that sword up. Or she's learned Arabic, let me learn Arabic too. So it's about pleasing your Lord. That's it.
That's a good question. I just thought about that. A sister, I'm going to say the sister's name, but a sister asked me about the marriage. So you are married through the state with the brother, Kaasheef, right? So one of the questions that was asked to me was, in the event, Allah forbid, that something was to happen to the brother, would you be, and I don't even know why I'm asking this, right? Because I know she would, but for the sake of the sister, because I know she texted me earlier and told me to ask this, so I know she's probably like, oh, she's not going to answer my question. But would you be willing to the other wives with whatever he left behind for you? Because legally we know, you would be the sole beneficiary of whatever. So would you still be willing to take care of, and if I'm asking wrong, listen, my phone died. But would you be willing to take care of the other wives and still maintain this family?
Yes. There's no other answer for that. Yes. Islamically, I know Cash will elaborate this on more, but if something happens to him, Islamically, Quranic way is laws that you have to follow. So in that sense, you're Muslim, you have to follow that. And also in that same sense, if they need help anyway, I'm going to help, period. That's because you're doing it for the sake of Allah. You're getting them rewards. So of course you're going to do it. It's your sister.
Yeah.
The best example in the life is Muhammad, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When he was on his deathbed, when he was dying, he had a possession. First, before I get to that, Allah says in the Quran that everyone is allocated a certain right of inheritance, wealth, right? To the wives, the children, the father, mother, whoever. Everybody has that shared just amount. Beyond that, the Prophet, peace be upon him, when he was dying on his deathbed, he had very little, right? Because he always gave. That's why he had very little. And he had something, maybe a dinar, gold dirham, or something like that. He had something. And his wife, he was laying in his wife's lap, and he asked her, "Do we have anything?" Let's pay attention to this. He said, "Do we?" It's going to lead right back to this topic. He said, "Do we have any possessions?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Give it away." Now somebody might think, "Well, why would he give that away if his wife is right there?" No, so he said, "Give it away." So he fainted because he was dying. When he woke back up, the first thing he asked was, "Did you give that money away yet?" And she said, "No, I forgot." He said, "How will I be?" Aisha, that was her name. He said, "How will I be, Muhammad, peace be upon him, in front of my Lord, owning some wealth while I didn't distribute it to someone who needs it?" That's what he said. Now that lets you know that, okay, if he wants it to give away, it is upon the village. Here we go. It is upon the Muslim community. You don't find this most of the time. It is upon the Muslim community to take care of theirs. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes. So if my friend, my companion, if he dies and his wife is without because he didn't have it, we gave it away for charity, good. I got her. You know what I mean? I'm going to provide for her too. And that's another reason that polygyny, back to it again, he's gone, the provision is gone from the man, I'll marry her. This is not the case where you hear in the dunya, the world, a girl will have a man, right? So they break up for whatever reason. Remember, they two conscious adults. They break up, and her best friend will marry that man, and she will get mad. Like, how dare you, man? What do you mean, how dare you? Aren't y'all grown? Yes. Then you have a mutual agreement that y'all not related in relation anymore? Yes. So then, by God's rule, it is permissible for that woman to marry that man. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all don't have ties anymore. As far as a marriage, I ain't talking like girlfriend stuff. You definitely can't get mad over that. Like when women like, I used to date him. Okay, well, so what? What commitment do you have? Nothing. It's not a marriage. That was nothing. It's just like you never was with him anyway. So if a man is married to a woman, how so even more? If a man is married to a woman, they get a divorce. It is permissible for her best friend or whoever to marry that man. They're not doing it out of spite. Some people do that, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the wholesome people who will marry this person because they knew that while he was with her, he treated her right. And they want to be treated like that. Maybe they had a mutual disagreement, but hey, they're not together anymore. That's the respect level. And then even while she's married to him, her best friend can get married to him too.
Wow. So one of the things I definitely think, I hope that you guys see from this as far as how polygyny can restore the village is just by pretty much helping each other. You know, this little village right here, I know some of y'all might not admit it, but I know some of you sisters is just like, wow, like that is what I would want. You know, it's unfortunate that, I'm not gonna say unfortunate because I don't want a lot of these displeased with me. I'm already out of line, y'all. I don't want that. But what I'm trying to figure out, let me work this the right way. You know, I know that in society, we as women are the ones that have been created emotional creatures. And for whatever reason, Allah, decided to create us in that way. And us being emotional creatures, us being emotional women, we react off of our emotions. And so it hinders us from having what these sisters have. It hinders us from even understanding the, good in situations where, you can be taken care of. You can have a sister, you can have, a co-wife, you can have your children have someone else to lean on when you're not there. You can have a brother who can be there to teach you. And I think that all goes back to also religion. My original invitation to you to my show was for you to talk about the purpose of religion in the village. And that's a whole nother show because we out of time now. But that's, I think, a really big topic that I would love for you to come back and talk about, because I think that it would be so much easier for people to understand this life if they understood the importance of even having religion. And even for myself, y'all, because y'all see I'm up here out of line, so I need to talk again myself, because for me, I had to let go of religion in order to find myself, and then in order to find Allah, because of my confusion about religion. So now that, Allah has blessed me to be on that path back to understanding religion, now, yeah, I'm going to pass it. Now, let me help you.
So, it is our duty, our prophet said, when you see, well, you have to use wisdom. So, this is directly to you. It's a request. I'm gonna call it. It's a request that because you recognize what you just said, you're now held accountable. I'm saying this in a kind way that at any second you can die. Ibn Umar, meaning the son of Umar, which was one of the prophet's companions, so it's like he said, if you are living in the evening, do not expect to be alive in the morning. If you're alive in the morning, do not expect to be alive in the evening. We must ask ourselves 3 questions, and if we don't, we'll never motivate ourselves to go to the next stage. Number 1 is, where do we come from? Number 2, why are we here? And number 3, where are we going? If you know where you came from, your Lord, then you get to know him. That word they mentioned earlier, Tawheed, it means to single out something for worship. And of course, we're referring to Allah, God. So when you know where you came from and you know his obligations upon you, his rights, then you know why you are here. And then after that, you do the actions that will allow you to be worried or concerned about where you're going. So if you know where you came from, if you know why you're here, then it's time for you to understand where you're going. And I'm talking general now. If you know that you're not living according to Allah, pleasure, like you did, you admitted it. That's between you and Allah, but at least you admitted it. But friendly reminder, we all invite you back. You know, if you need a reminder, there you go. You told a reminder. Nobody's here to bash you down, but it's a funny reminder. I have to say that because I've known you since a kid. And, you know, so inshallah, you will come back. And that's not for anybody. I'm eliminating some hater, like last time who was on here, who tried to blast her. We're not going to allow that up here. So, like, she invited us here. We're not going to be invited here and allow anybody to criticize her, while we still will invite her to it, because if we bash her, it will run her away. And the Lord said that. If you're harsh with them, it will run them away, even though they have their own accountability, but you still have to remind them. All of us need to be reminded, even me, at one point, for me to get like this.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Definitely need the reminder. You know, one of the things I had to understand also is that no matter how much I can tell you that I believe something, if I really don't believe it, then it really doesn't matter, because I really don't believe it. If I really don't understand it, then I can sit here and say, okay, yeah, I understand. Even, you know, polygyny, we're talking about that today. You know, 12 years ago, you know, I shared that story with you guys the last time. The word polygyny, you know, just was so harsh for me that I ended up in the hospital because I just couldn't take it, you know. But now I understand it, you know. But I kept telling myself back then, oh, okay, I'm gonna accept it. Okay, I'm gonna accept it, and I'm gonna live like this, and and it literally was a 7-day process to ending up in the hospital. So, you know, I no longer live my life saying, oh, yes, I agree with that, or I believe that, or I live like that. If one thing I do, fear Allah. I do, my Lord. Allah is my Lord. I truly understand how to say, okay, I live like this. Really, really get it. So yeah, I appreciate you saying that though. But the purpose of religion, back to that, is what I really had to understand as well. Because I was like, okay, wait a second. When I went through my little process, I'm like, okay, so was it created to just destroy us? Or was it created to, you know, tear us apart? Because there's so many different religions. And we have so many different, you know, we have a lot going on now in 2017 where you have people that even made up religions. You know, and it was also confusing to me. So I'm gonna say last 6 months of just reading and kind of understanding different religions as well as Islam, I understand. I made a post the other day, and so I'm in the show like this, but I made a post the other day about how the world is in chaos. You know, and I said, you know, back in the beginning of the time, you know, Allah created religion to restore order, because everyone was out of order. So he restored order. Now, you know, religion has been lost because everybody is just confused. And we have people suffering from mental illness, and we have people that just are brokenhearted. The villages have been broken. And so people are just searching for something to hold on to. And the religion is really that something that I see that you can hold on to kind of ground yourself. And, you know, be able to find yourself and humble yourself and structure yourself and structure your home and structure your lives. Religion is important. So the next time, inshallah, you see these beautiful Muslimas and Brother Kaasheef, you know, here, inshallah, we'll be talking about that, about how religion, you know, religion restores the community. Okay, I'm gonna let you.
I want to real quick. I want to set a platform for the next show. Just to comment on what you said. Allah says in the Quran, Islam is the religion in front of Allah, meaning He legislated this way of life, and it will dominate over all other ways of life. And when I say dominate, I mean peacefully spread, and the truth stands out from falsehood. So to end this, I want to get you all to contemplate on something so that it can have you motivated for the next show. And for those who profess to believe in one God, then you know that if there's one God, He's not going to be the author of confusion, right? In the Bible says that, and then the Islam says that Allah is the master of the day of judgment, the sovereign of the creatures. So He created Islam. Islam means submission and surrender to God. Now just think about this real quick, brief. If there is a religion that's true, it has to be Islam. Why? Contemplate. Every religion that you think about is linked to something that is created and not the creator, except for Islam. Let's go down the line. Christianity is linked to Christ, the title given to Jesus. Before Jesus was born, the term Christ was not used frequently or used, period. So that means that the religion of God cannot be Christianity with all due respect, because Jesus himself never said, be Christian. You won't find the verse nowhere. He never said, be Christian. Anybody who claims to be Christian, just open your mind. Don't be biased and ask yourself, where's the proof for being Christian? Nowhere. Paul didn't even say it. A man said to Paul, it is almost as if you persuaded me to be a Christian. Jesus never said be Christian. But Jesus, before he was born, there was never that word. Judaism, Jews, came from the tribe of Judah. Jacob had 12 sons. Judah was one. That tribe, Judaism. When we say Jesus was a Jew, we mean by lineage, Jewish tribe, lineage. Religious-wise, Jesus was a Muslim. Muslim means one who submits to God. So you do like that with every religion. Zoroastrianism, named after the constellations. Satanism, named after Satan. Buddhism, named after Buddha. If this religion was from Muhammad, it would be called Mohammedanism, and it's not. But Christianity is called Christianity, named after Jesus. And Jesus said, glory be to you, God. I only have one God, my God and your God, my Lord and your Lord. He never attributed that way of life to him. He never said, be a Christian. But yet Muhammad said, you are, God said, I named you Muslim, meaning submitting to him. So Islam is the only way of life that is linked to the Creator. Submission and surrender to the Creator. Every other religion created. And to end, Muslims have concept two: creator, creation, and the two are not alike. So you're either worshiping the Creator upon his religion, or you're worshiping your desires upon your religion.
Oh yes, rock the mic, but it'll break, so we won't. So we already got one broke mic, but that was excellent. You know what would be really good, right? But you can tell me if you want to do this or not. I think it would be really awesome to have some other people from other religions come.
I definitely want to.
You sure?
Yes.
Oh, okay, right. Because I didn't want you to be like, don't put me on the spot. But
not as a debate.
Yeah, definitely not as a debate. But like I said, religion period is important, you know? So again, you can say not as a debate, but
dialogue.
As a dialogue.
Our religion says in chapter 2, Allah says, chapter 2 of the Quran, verse 256, La ikraha fid din. There's no compulsion in religion. You cannot force anyone that's not Muslim to be a Muslim. So when people say Islam was spread by the sword, this is false, because the Quran doesn't teach that. Muhammad saw Islam as the ambassador of the Quran. So he don't go against his Lord. It wasn't spread like that. Dialogue, I really mean dialogue. Allah says in the Quran, in another spot, invite to the way of your Lord with wisdom and fair preaching. You can Google it to find out the chapter and verse. Start off Quran verse, invite to the way of your Lord. It's there. With wisdom and fair preaching. Not hatred, not bashing. And when I do that, inshallah, God willing, you'll see that when I open the conversation, or when they do it, whenever I'm able to speak, I'm going to start off with the similarities that we possess, or that we share, and then talk about why we have differences and relate it back to Allah.
This is going to be an awesome show. I'm excited already. So you guys, I want to say thank you so very much for tuning in tonight to Rebuilding the Village Talk Show. You know I would stay here talking with them forever, but they definitely gotta go. So, and not because I want them to, but because they have to. but I truly appreciate all of you for coming and sharing your lives, the way you live, and your stories with all of us. I pray that each of you are an inspiration to other women out here that are maybe thinking about it or may have never thought about it, you know, but it is definitely and hopefully an eye opener to those who, you know, were really misguided by what, you know, this life was like, you know, having three wives in one house and all the children, you know, it's nothing but love and genuineness. And, you know, you all are the reminder of what we all want, you know, as far as to have for our sister, what we want for ourselves. For me, you know, it allows me to see that even though I may not have that right now in my life, it's a blessing that Allah bless someone else to have it. And I'm grateful to even just see that and be a witness to that. So, alhamdulillah. So, thank you guys. Thank you, Brother Kaasheef, for coming. And I'm looking forward to you guys coming back. Thank you, beautiful Hannah.
And may God protect us from the evil eye.
Yes, and may Allah protect us from the evil eye. Ameen. So, everybody, if you have...
Please let the... go ahead. Sisters, if you have any questions, anything you want to say, anything you want to know, anything we could possibly help you with, as far as, you know, our family, how we got here, our stories, because like I said, everybody has a story to tell. However, whatever you inboxes, messages, comment, do whatever you want, like, you know, to help another sister. We have no problem with it. I believe I speak for everybody else when I say this. You know, guys, men, our husband is available. I mean, listen, like, we're here, we're open, as you see, and we're willing. And as far as our projects that we have coming up, if you need help, you want to help, if you have a resource, or if you just want to ask questions, you just want to know what it is, whether you in-state, out-of-state, cross-country, please message us, get with us, and we will get back with you as soon as possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. But another thing I wanted to invite, I'm glad you said that, because I'm also doing something with Rebuilding the Village. Also, you know, I have the Just Mommy and Me, which is, you know, for young women. It's a mentoring program for young mothers and young women. And there's a thing that I'm doing once a month with Rebuilding the Village and Just Mommy and Me and collabing them. And it's called Walk a Mile in My Shoes. And so it is for young women to be able to take a journey with an older woman, you know, and pretty much walk a mile in her shoes, understand her journey, where she's been, how she got to where she is, you know, her struggles. It is pretty much a whole 100% to be an inspiration to another young woman. I'm sure, you know, when we were younger, you know, we had, I don't know what you had, but I'm going to say for me personally, as far as Muslim women to look up to, you know, it was a lot of confusion for me. You know, and just for an elder, I knew my mom and my grandmother and my great-grandmothers, and I had some amazing people in my life, but I have a lot of friends that didn't have that. And so I had a lot of friends that, a few friends, unfortunately, that lost their way and turned to drugs and, you know, turned to other things because they didn't have those inspirational people. So I kept trying to figure out, how can I be inspirational to a lot of women? And so Allah has provided me with this amazing platform, and I want to be able to use it to be an inspiration to women. So I would love for all of you to come on that show when I collab both of those, the Walk a Mile in My Shoes. And that would be awesome for everybody as well, because you'll actually be able to, like, not really just talk, I mean, of course we're going to talk about polygamy, but not just have it just be solely about that, but be about you as women and your, you know, your walk, how you got here, you know, how you, all of that. So I think that that would be amazing. And because you are a trio, you know, it could be a 4-0, a quad, but, you know, inshallah one day, but, you know, I would love for you guys to come back and do that show with me. So y'all, you know, I'm just trying to be, you know, make sure they keep coming back, because I just really, really, really sincerely love your family, and I'm grateful that, you know, Allah allowed us to even be in each other's presence. So thank you again to everyone who took the time to watch the show tonight. Please share the show with your friends. And if you have friends or family that do not have Facebook, it's okay. You can tell them to kindly go over to the YouTube and follow us on YouTube, or subscribe to Rebuilding the Village Talk Show on YouTube. And they can watch the show via YouTube. Thank you guys. Thank you. Share. I know you invited your friends. And please tune in next week for Rebuilding the Village Talk Show. Good night.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Oh, we gotta end this one. It's not there. Go click down. No, click down. It's not there either. Hey, YouTube people, we're gonna end y'all too in a second as soon as we figure it out. No, go down to the down. Go all the way to the bottom. Right there. No, right there. There we go. All right, good night.